Anna, it is so good to have you here on the Coach Launch podcast. Thank you for being here.
I'm so excited to be here with you.
Amazing, amazing stuff. So, welcome today to the Coach Launch, guys. Today we're chatting with Anna Girgan, a transformational mindset and leadership coach who is changing the way entrepreneurs and executives achieve success with her creative and powerful ideas. Anna is not only an author and a host of Epiphanies, the podcast, but she's also the creator of the Epiphany Effect System, an innovative approach that combines faith, neuroscience, and purposeful execution to transform lives and businesses. With a background that includes a 20-year career in corporate retail, Anna has a wealth of experience having served as a corporate director, overseeing enterprise training, launching new services, and speaking to large audiences. Now, Anna is dedicated to helping high-achieving leaders rewire their limiting beliefs and lead with confidence. Let's discover how she makes a big difference in the world of leadership and mindset coaching. Amazing. I am super pumped to be diving into this with you today, Anna. You've got a wealth of knowledge, and I'm really excited to be tapping that out so that my listeners can get some huge value from you. This is going to be awesome. So let's start from the beginning. What is it that you specifically do?
So, I am a mindset and transformational leadership coach. I'm trained in energy and neuroscience principles to help catalyze breakthroughs for my clients and help them step into their leadership authority.
Amazing, amazing. So tell us some of the Epiphany Effect System. Give me a little bit of a synopsis about what that is and what is that about.
Sure. Yeah. With the Epiphany Effect System, we're doing identity work to help my clients come back into full alignment with who they're really born and called to be. We do work on influence and finding your voice and stepping into your authority and your influence. And we also work on different aspects of empathetic leadership and servant leadership as well.
Sounds so interesting. I can't wait to find out more about that. Okay, so tell me some of the results and some of the accomplishments or what happens to people once they've gone through this process.
Yeah, when my clients go through the Epiphany Effect System, the results that they achieve, it depends on what their personal goals are, but that's either going to be leaving the corporate role and starting the business, or some people are made for the corporate world and they are the ones that I just help pivot maybe departments, maybe they're looking for something that's a different fit for them or just get promoted where they're at. So it just depends on what the client's needs are.
So what is it that you bring to the table and why should people listen to you and what you're doing?
I bring to the table, first of all, like you said, I have my 20 years of corporate leadership experience, which I was in an organization with 30,000 people winning team
Wow.
member, yeah, yes, winning most valuable team member award, not once, but twice, launching brands that went from launch to profitability in 18 months. That's unheard of. And just leading teams, honestly, I say all of that, but to be really honest with you, my passion was leading teams with empathetic and servant leadership so that my team members were constantly getting promoted, growing within the organization. And I was getting calls 10 years later saying, you were still the best boss I've ever had. That's really what I think was my biggest success story.
It's an incredible superpower, right? Is to help people with leadership and understanding and empathy. Empathy is a big missing piece often in our whole business context, right? I'd love to dive into a little bit more of that in a bit. Tell me, what was it like leading those teams? Like, what is it like for you unleashing that superpower?
Ooh, I feel like I just step into my most authentic self when I'm in a leadership position because for me, it's not about me. Although I know what a strong leader I am. For me, it's about the team that I'm leading and bringing out the best in every single person that I'm leading. So when you say, what was it like to step into that? I'd say it was so natural. It was like stepping into who I really just was born to be. But there's something that just is so wow, for me to not be able to put words to it, that says something because 'cause I'm a word girl. but there's something that's just so incredibly powerful about leading a group of people and being able to have each and every one of them pull out the best, pull out the gold, pull out the absolute best that they can all be. There's something really magical about it.
Assuming this is a key principle that you bring to the table to helping your clients, right? Because leadership is one of the most important skills to ever learn, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're in corporate, or whether you're in, family environment even, right? Key nuances of leadership are hard to understand for some people. And so
Mhm.
having that missing gap is huge. Is that something that you're helping people with?
Definitely. We work in a lot of self-awareness, but with self-awareness comes emotional intelligence. And in this day and age of everything AI, which is a beautiful thing, we need to learn how to lean into AI while not losing the emotional intelligence that we have as human beings, and knowing that that's what we as leaders that's what's going to separate us from the ones that get left behind in the era of AI.
Wow, emotional intelligence. So I hear that word a lot lately. Define what is your thought, or how do you define emotional intelligence?
Emotional intelligence, I think, is first of all, it has a lot to do with being able to read a room and empathy, but it's really treating people like people and with kindness and respect. Emotional intelligence is being able to, I think, also as a leader, be a servant leader and bring out the best in your people. There's so much that goes along with it, but I think to simplify, it's the human aspect of leadership.
Yes, and that's a big missing piece sometimes, right? How do we bring in the human aspect? AI is shifting all of our industries so fast right now, and I see that a lot, the people missing that human touch, right? And you can't run, the world won't operate or function efficiently without humans, right? Like there's no, this idea that AI will replace humans is kind of ludicrous, really, because who's going to pay the bills? Who's going to do the work? Who's going to create love, connection, intention, right?
Mhm. Yes.
What are
And
your
as
thoughts about that?
well, I think I see people that are leaning into AI for things that we shouldn't be leaning into AI for, like personal communication. I always say there's a difference in using it as a tool and using it to replace your own intuition and your own ability to think for yourself. Like, we need to be utilizing AI as our servant and not be subject to AI to take over our own ability to think for ourselves. I think we're in a really dangerous space right now where some people are allowing AI to do a little bit too much of that deeper inner intuitive think for yourself work that they shouldn't be. So whenever I see personal communication come through, I use it for your marketing all day long. But if you're sending somebody an email or a note that should be a very
Yeah.
personal, don't just copy and paste that. Just don't copy and paste that. Drives me crazy.
I know. You can tell when you receive that kind of communication, you just know somebody's used the AI, and it's like, well, you just kind of brush over it, right?
Yep,
Because it's like it's either not emotional, it's not connecting, or it's just like the same little emoticon fluff that they put in.
exactly. Yeah.
It annoys me too. All right, let's take a step back. Yeah,
Mhm.
I will dive further into that in a bit, but let's go back to your early beginnings. Let's talk about where this all started. What was the transformation and the transition to get to where you are today? Go back to as far back as you want and give us some insights onto who you are and what you've been up to.
Yeah, I'd love to. So I was, again, with my organization for 20 years. I grew up within the organization. I held basically every role from sales associate all the way up through. By the time I resigned, I was a corporate director, worked in multiple different departments. I had a lot of, just had visibility and experience to a lot of different areas of the business. Once 2023 came around, I had already gotten my coaching certification in 2020. I knew that was something I was really passionate about and interested in. And then post 2020, the corporate role took everything out of me. It was my literal, from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed at night, it consumed me. And being who I am and such a passionate person, I was giving all of myself to the job and I really lost myself in the meantime. So throughout that experience, I hit a total wall of burnout. I lost my brother in 22. And when I came back from my brother's memorial, my boss told me that I had taken too much time off, which was a week and a half. And when I heard that, it was this smack in the face realization of what am I actually giving my life to right now? Like who and what is the actual ROI on the time and the effort and the blood, sweat, and tears that I'm pouring into this if I don't even have the returned empathy to be able to understand this really horrible thing that I just went through, and you're telling me that it was too much PTO because you can't get through it without me here. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was a very wake up call moment for me of priorities and where were my priorities at that time. So that was one of the things over that last 18 months of my career that were just constant like wake up calls and aha moments. And then it ultimately hit a point that I got the call. It was just that inner call. I felt God tell me, like, it's time. Let's leave this behind and let's go on an adventure. So on my 20-year anniversary, I put my resignation in and I took off on a solo road trip adventure across the USA.
Wow, that's a big jump. I love the idea. So you're in this job. It's a corporate role. You're rising through the ranks, super good. You're doing all the right things. You've got yourself established. And we talked about. I was reading some of your information. You talk about this idea of the golden handcuffs,
Yeah.
and I love the context of this because now, for anyone that doesn't know what the golden handcuffs is, who is listening, the golden handcuffs is when you're in a role, and usually in a job, and you're doing really well in that role. You're getting paid well. You're getting the pat on the back. You're getting bonuses, etc. And usually the leadership can't manage or function that role without you. So you feel kind of trapped in that role, and you feel that if you leave, two things happen. First of all, you're going to you're going to let your team down that you've been working on, and the second thing, from my perspective, is that there's a fear of leaving this role that's you're so established and there's consistency with pay and income and all that, to then starting your own venture and making your own impact in the world, because stopping getting that pay, that regular pay, means oftentimes taking risk, starting from the beginning and jumping into something that's totally different, new. And so you literally, it can be fearful for a lot of people. And that's why sometimes people just keep doing the golden handcuff thing and just keep going. Whereas
Yep.
sometimes other people, entrepreneurs, usually jump and go, you know what, I'm going to make myself rich for now. Let's go. So talk to me, so coming back to that, the golden handcuffs, I want you to explain to me in your words what that felt like for you.
Man, you know, you nailed it. First of all, everything that you just described is exactly what I was experiencing. It was this feeling of I've now dedicated 20 years of my life to this organization. I have quote unquote made it. I have the title that I aspired to. I had the good salary, the six-figure income. I had the clout in the organization. You know, I felt like I was winning, like I said, the awards. I had won Team Member of the Year awards and most valuable team member in an organization of 30,000 people. So all of that is really scary to leave behind and like you said, start over. At that time, whether it was starting my own business or even finding another job, regular 9 to 5 job, God forbid, it would still be starting over because I had made a name for myself and I had the title and the salary.
Yeah.
I still had such big dreams that I knew I was never going to achieve if I stayed at this organization. So it was this constant tug and pull of here I've made it. I've got the good salary, I've got the title, but it's not scratching the itch of the thing that I know that I could accomplish and the thing that I know that I could do. So do I take the risk? Do I leave it all behind? And honestly, I think for me personally, it took experiencing the loss of a couple of my loved ones to realize the fragility of life, and that why not now? What that it makes the risk less frightening when you realize the risk of not doing it and sacrificing your dreams. And what if I stay here and then I'm at retirement age and I never tried? What would that feel like? So I came to a point that they say the risk of change, you have to get to a point where the risk of change isn't as scary as the risk of staying the same. I butchered that, but you get the drift. Where
Yeah.
y- I had to at least give it a shot and see what happened, or else it would have been that thing on my shoulder the rest of my life.
Wow. Very powerful. And I can totally relate to that. It's a very daunting thought or experience going through it, shifting from that transition. But when you have such cataclysmic things happening in your life, like the loss of some loved ones, it can really put perspective on who you are, what you're doing, and where you're going. And it's a, for some people, it's like a no-brainer, right? I've got to do this thing, and you just do and move into your own world. Now you've gone into business for yourself, and um, you created your business. You're having success in it. How did your journey shape as to where you are today? Like, tell me about the journey and how this has all shaped you and to helping the people that you're helping and serving today.
Yeah, I think I had to ask myself that question too, right? Why did I spend 20 years in an organization, in a corporation, but everything that I've learned along the way has now empowered me to be able to turn around and help and teach other people? So I think just being, again, in that organization where I've worked all different types of roles, been around all different types of teams and team members, and learning the organizational dynamics and the bureaucracy and what now my clients are dealing with on a regular basis, I think is super beneficial for me now. And then also, I like to say that I lead by example. So for my clients that want to take the risk and do the thing, I can be the one that's a few steps ahead of them, holding their hand and saying, I know what it feels like to be about to hit that send button on that resignation letter, but I promise you'll be okay. Because it really would have helped if I had somebody holding my hand when I was sitting there with my palms sweating, like, oh my gosh, can I really do this? Is this sane? Am I crazy? So now I get the opportunity to be that for somebody else, as well as, again, if they just want to stay within their organization and maybe do what I did prior to that and grow within, get promoted and hit whatever goal that is, if it's becoming VP or CEO or whatever, I can help you with that now too, because I've also gone down that path.
And those are so powerful resources to draw from, right? When you're growing in an organization, there is a lot of things that are unknown, right? And there's mistakes. I mean, I'm sure you made so many mistakes that you learned from. And for somebody going up in their career in an organization, why not avoid the mistakes, right? From somebody that's already grown in a big organization. On the other side of it, it's entrepreneurship. You have these amazing tools that you're bringing to the table to help people communicate with their teams, maybe to be a better leader or to make better decisions about how to grow a business. I love that. I super love that. What are some of the aha moments that you can share with us that you've had over the last while that's really sparked what you've done and how you've gone into your journey?
Matthew, we call those epiphanies around here.
Okay. Well, hence the Epiphany
Yeah.
context. Love that.
There's been so many, hence the name of my brand. I live off of epiphanies and aha moments. I think some of them earlier in my journey, my aha moments of wanting to step out into entrepreneurship, were that realization of I was never going to be able to achieve the things that I wanted to achieve while working for someone else. And so going to the conferences and seeing the motivational speakers on stage and being like, how do you get to that? I want to do that, right? Or how many people listening want to write the book? Like, so many years I spent wanting to write the book. And my aha moment with that, because I just self-published my first book, was
Oh,
actually
congratulations.
thank you, was actually out of a session with one of my clients. And I hung up off of this session and I sent her some journal prompts. And as soon as I did it, I felt God tap me on the shoulder and be like, you should just keep going with that. So I did, and it turned into an entire guided workbook on money mindset. So a lot of the times, the things that we end up stumbling our way into, in hindsight, it's like, oh, that started as just this really simple moment, this idea that I just took action on and kept going after pursuing. And you never know where it's going to go or what it's going to turn into.
Love that. I love that. So let's go into what's the key message you are sharing or imparting with your clients or people, the listeners today? What does that look like?
A lot of the work that I do really centers around awareness of energy and how that impacts everything that we do. So I start every client relationship with an energy assessment. And this really reveals the different filters that you have, the different limiting beliefs that you might have that you're not even aware of, and how we all actually are in a position to be at choice for the energy that we want to be vibing at every single day, basically. So that's one of my main.
What is the energy? Explain the energy that you talk about, because energy is a broad term.
It is.
Give me specifics about what it is that your message is.
Awesome. Thank you for asking. So I'm certified in energy leadership coaching. When I talk about energy, I'm talking about actual quantum physics principles of frequencies of
Wow.
things and how everything that every at all matter is made up of energy that vibrates at certain frequencies, and those frequencies really dictate a lot of different things. So when you hear the phrase of good vibes or bad vibes, that's actually real. Things actually vibrate at certain frequencies. So once you have a really good understanding of this, it can be such a game changer because you can start making decisions based off of what's going to be a higher level frequency versus a lower level frequency. I usually don't get into that detailed of language off the bat. That's a lot, but the assessment that I do, it measures the 7 different energy levels, and from it's a continuum, and the lowest level of energy, that's gonna be shame, despair, overwhelm, feeling stuck. And the highest level of energy is something that humans barely tap into.
Love that. Wow. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about that. So here's my understanding of this, because it's obviously connected to a thought process or an action process,
Mhm.
this energy component. So what you're saying is we're giving off energy, we're receiving energy. Is
Mhm.
that correct?
Yes. Yep.
So,
Thoughts and words become behaviors, and it's all energy.
right. So the idea isn't, you can tell me if I'm wrong, I'm just assuming a few things here, is
Mhm.
that uh, as we're doing whatever we're doing in a day, we're either giving out energy or receiving energy, and that's based on, some things we can control, some things we can control, but we can control our energy, and what energy we release is what we're going to attract. So what I'm thinking is that if we're thinking certain things, that's creating our energy output. Is that correct?
Absolutely. You got it. You're a good
And
student.
thank you. And so I love those layers that you had. You had 7 layers. So
Mhm.
there's the worst energy that you said. Could you tell me those 7 layers?
Sure. Briefly, it's going to go from level 1 and 2 they're your bottom layers. Now, preface, no energy is bad because they could all be used for a purpose situationally or for a circumstance. There might be situations that it's really healthy for you to tap into some conflict energy, right? Think about situations where you need to just muscle through something. So, those bottom 2 energy levels, they're what we call the catabolic energy levels. That's level 1 and level 2. Level 1 is more of your victim, overwhelm, despair, anguish. Level 2 is your conflict, fight, that level. So those 2
Yeah.
levels are when your body is releasing catabolic hormones, so adrenaline, cortisol, things that are there for a purpose to get you through a situation quickly, but not good if you sit there or stay there. That's when disease happens. That's when you can't live in a catabolic state. So then you start going up the spectrum. Level 3 would be more of a complacency. It is what it is. Everything's all right. Level 4 is going to be your serving energy, your giving, your caring, your compassion. Level 5 is going to be more of your win-win. Let's find a win for everybody. Level 6 is where you start really getting into your creative energy. And then again, level 7 is like your Buddha if you're at level 7.
I love that. And so it's an aspirational. No, let me rephrase that. What I'm understanding is it's not so much wanting to rise to the top, but managing the energy flows. And is it aspirational to get to the top? Or do you always want to be at the top? Tell me, what does that look like?
No, what you want is to always be at choice. So you want to be
Oh,
aware of what level you're in and not being victim to it or being subject to it, but being at choice of I'm choosing to be at level 3 right now because I just need we need to just get by this and skate through this. Or I'm choosing to be at level 6 because I'm in creation mode and I'm building the business. So when you're at choice, that's when you're the most powerful that you could possibly be.
being a choice, choosing the energy you want to release or choosing the environment you want to portray. That is so good. And this is part of your methodology, right?
Yes.
Your
Yes, it's actually part of I'm trained with IPEC, and that's what I'm an ELI master, an energy leadership index master practitioner. It's a mouthful. And that's the assessment that I kick off all my client relationships with so that you can understand where your current energy is and the areas that you might want to change.
Is that that's the Epiphany Effect System that you have. This is part of it. Tell me
Mhm.
about your, because this sounds so interesting. Like I'm really, like for me, it's important. Like for me, I work in an office, right? And I have a team, and my team is spread out all over the world, right?
Yeah.
And so it's, how do you, let's dive into that a little bit before I go into your system. How would I empower energy across the globe? How would I use that in my business?
Oh, that's a good question. It's about awareness, first of all. So when I said a lot of my coaching and modality is about creating self-awareness, that's step one. Doing the assessment and having an understanding of these principles that I just explained to you and how you might be putting off. Maybe you're at level 1 and you don't even know that you're at level 1 overwhelm energy and the implications of that when every single team member on your team has an understanding of the energetics and understanding of how they operate, again, what it's going to happen is not only am I going to be able to have more self-awareness and emotional intelligence, but I'm also going to be able to have a lot more empathy and operate in a way that, again, whoa, Matthew must be in his stress response right now because he's coming off a little spicy. So I'm going to just give him a break and step back, and I'm not going to internalize that or take it personally. I'm going to understand the energetics that are going on, and that actually the best thing to do is to raise the energy of the room and not lower it or contribute to it.
Love that. Because that happens a lot. I've been in boardroom meetings and there's just somebody that doesn't understand the energy, right? And they're got
Yes,
the whole energy all mixed up.
exactly.
Or
And
this, you know,
energy.
yeah, when you're around people sometimes, and they're saying a big group of people, there's people that just, you can know they don't understand the energy. They're
Right.
raising it or they're lowering it or they're not aware of their own dynamic in the environment, right? So this is very powerful. Like, guys, for anyone that's listening in this podcast right now, like I totally get this, and I'm learning so much from this experience because I think it's super valuable. I don't think this part is talked about enough because in business, leadership, life, running businesses, we get all consumed in doing the thing and not understanding that, hey, there are these levels of energy and we can manage these, we can understand them. And if we do, it's going to give us more, we get to choose, and it'll give us the ability to communicate better with other people, I think. Is that right?
Not only that, but also imagine how much faster your projects are going to get done if everybody knows how to tap into their creation energy. And if everyone knows how to tap into
Wow.
collaboration energy, how much better is your team going to flow and be able to delegate the appropriate tasks? How much less bureaucracy and politics are there going to be when everybody starts to understand the energy that's at play? And for leaders, I'm a huge believer that the leader is dictating the room. So if the leader is dictating the energy of the room by the energy that they carry, it gives them that much more understanding of, if you spilled your coffee this morning and you're late to work, you need to fix your energy before you walk into that meeting because you're going to spill it out over the rest of the team. And is that how you want the rest of your business day to go? Is that what you want to be contributing to the team and the effort and the productivity that they're going to put off today? Probably not. So it again, that's how it enables you to be A, more self-aware, and B, aware of emotional intelligence and how that's all interplaying.
Wow. I love this. It's such an interesting conversation, and it can bring up, there's so many things I want to dive into, but let's talk about what are some of the struggles you see people facing, like in your industry? What is limiting them or stopping them from actually breaking through and doing this thing?
Thing that the very baseline thing that we talk about that's actually the beginning of my workbook is the Gales that they teach us in IPEC. And these are the 4 major limiting beliefs or mindset barriers that every person experiences on Earth. I don't care who you are, you've got Gales, because it's actually, that's where neuroscience comes in. It's actually how our neural pathways are built. So a Gale would be one of 4 things. Everyone has a gremlin, and that's that message that says you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're probably not educated enough, and that holds us back from things. So that's the first thing that, as a coach, a lot of times people aren't even aware that they have these messages until we're working through a coaching session and it's like, oh, wait, hold on. Did you hear what you just said? Let's actually identify that. So it's capturing these things, capturing these thought processes and these mindsets that sometimes are so ingrained that we don't even know that they're there, and then rewiring them. So just quickly, the other gills, the A would be an assumption. That's because it happened before, it's going to happen again. I never win. I never get promoted. I'm never going to. The I would be an interpretation. So that's a filter that you have. Oh, the whole team is huddling in the corner chatting. They must be chatting about me. Or my boss is frowning. I must have done something wrong. You're interpreting something through your own filter, your own lens. And then the last is a limiting belief, and that would be the more macro or global scale things that would hold us back.
You're right. I don't think anyone would not be facing some of those to some level, right? We limit
Yeah.
ourselves by our own internal thought processes. That's very powerful. So, and this is so you go through a process. I want to dive into your system. Tell me about your whole system and how you're helping people overall, like the overarching mechanics of what you're doing. So you're taking people from their limiting beliefs, they're struggling, they're not good leaders, they're not having success in their entrepreneurial journey because they have all these things going on in their head and it's stopping them. So talk to me about how you're taking them from that place to how they can be free of all of this.
Sure. Yeah. So we've already identified half of the system with the assessment, the awareness, bringing awareness to the energetics, bringing awareness to where the limiting beliefs are and how that could be holding you back. Then we just go into the rewiring. So that's where the neuroscience also comes into play. We have the ability to rewire our brains. We have the ability to rewire our mindsets. Just because oh, I'm just a negative person. That's not true. We have neuroplasticity. You have the ability to change a thought pattern. Is it a challenge? Yeah. It's like the difference between taking the highway or taking the dirt road. But the more you take the dirt road, the more you're building that pathway until it becomes the more natural route for you to take. So that's a very short summary of how I help people first identify where those limiting beliefs are and then start to work on rewiring some of those neural pathways. And can't give away all my secret sauce for how we do that, but that's the science behind it. And then from that comes stepping into your authority, from that comes clarity and what your actual goals are, from that comes self-awareness, confidence, taking steps towards your goals, taking the risk because you're clearing out all the noise and you're really learning truly who you are without all this other stuff that's clouding you.
So from what I can tell from your synopsis is that you have this, you help people become aware on where the limiting beliefs are and what's the root causes of that possibly. And then you have systems and tools to help people practice and rewire their brains. And I'm assuming those tools are, as you said, the dirt road or the windy road. For me, it's like if you want to, get stronger, you have to exercise. You have to make those muscles work, right? And so you got to constantly be working on that. So I would assume that you have these tools and resources that people could plug into that helps them practice or train. Kind of like going to a gym and you have a workout program, right? And you do these things, you practice them, and you can help to rewire their thought processes and their thinking. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, that's part of it. I will tell you more times than not, as soon as someone takes this assessment and has a comprehension and can really grasp energy, you see a massive transformation happen instantly, so the rest of the work is just like the icing on the cake.
I can so relate to that because it's something to aspire towards. Self-awareness is an important aspect of entrepreneurship or leadership, right?
Mhm.
And if you're not self-aware or if you don't know how to become self-aware, tools like this help you break through those barriers super fast, right?
Exactly.
Amazing. So talk to me about some of the mistakes, problems, or limiting beliefs you see people are facing in your industry, and what are some of the lessons that you can help us today to understand to break through some of those?
Thought you were going to ask about my mistakes. I was going to say, Matthew, I don't make mistakes.
Sure.
Most common mistakes in my industry, I would say waiting too long to do the thing. So, whatever that thing is, whether it's the promotion or the business, dragging your feet and repeating the same cycles and having to take just one more course or learn one more thing or wait one more year, just no. You have to just at some point, it's not a feeling, it's a decision and you just have to do the thing because those limiting beliefs that I'm talking about, some of them, that gremlin that tells you that you're not good enough, that never dies. We just learn how to control him and to tell him to shut up. But he's always there. He always exists. I don't care if you are the CEO of a $1 billion company, you're going to have a gremlin telling you at certain points that you're not good enough or you shouldn't be doing something. So I'd say not recognizing those things right? Not doing the work to recognizing when we do have those limiting beliefs or those messages that are just a created neural pathway because of past experiences or the gremlin messaging. I think that holds people back a lot. And then lastly, I would say probably not being empathetic and not putting teams first, right? It's so critical that, again, we look at the human side of things and we don't consider kindness to be weakness in leadership. That's not necessary. You can be kind and a strong leader at the same time. They're not, that's not polar opposite things.
I think a lot of people, especially in more male-dominated industries, it's this like if you show empathy, you're considered to be weak, and it is really not the case, because empathy actually it strengthens you and it actually empowers you, and people will follow you if you can present that empathy. Is that am I right?
100%. You will have people that will be willing to go the extra 15 miles for you. And how much better are your results going to be when you have a team that's bought in not only to what they're doing, but to you as a leader? It should be a no-brainer that these things are amazing for business. But for whatever reason, our egos come into play and we think that it's weakness or that we shouldn't show the, like you said, like the empathetic soft side of ourselves.
It's so true. Give us some teaching or lesson on how we can break through some of this stuff that can help our listeners today. Something actionable that we could do.
How to break through for empathy for your teams.
You choose a topic and give us
Okay.
something that we through today. Give us some actionable results.
Okay. I would say that's the first thing that I feel led to share is being empathetic with your team starts with being vulnerable. So my first action item would be wherever you're at, start with humility and vulnerability. Every time I would take on a new team, I would send out a letter of expectation and I would also include if I have a blind spot, I want you to make me aware of that blind spot. I'm giving you full permission to be transparent and honest with me. When you see that I have a blind spot, you won't get in trouble and I'm not going to bite back. You need to tell me because that's how we're all going to be the strongest team that we can be is if you have the comfort level to come to me and tell me when I have a blind spot. So putting yourself in a position of vulnerability like that and being just transparent and humble, you are going to see an immediate shift with the trust level from your team and the energy of your team. That's an immediate energy shifter. So I would say that for all the leaders that are listening, take a step towards how can you do something along those lines where you're opening yourself up to vulnerability and empathy on your teams. And then just as a general statement for energy, awareness, and shifting, if you're struggling with anxiety, if you're struggling with insomnia, whatever it is, fear, the best thing that you can do to immediately shift your energy is to think about things that you're grateful for. It's not fluff. It's literal energy. Anxiety and fear and grief and all of those things can't live in the same space energetically as gratitude. So the key is not just like, well, I'm thankful for this and I'm thankful for that. It's feeling these things too. So actually put yourself in a position of feeling the things that you have in your life right now to be grateful for, because we all have things that we can be grateful for. And turning even the most mundane tasks into gratitude practices is an immediate energy shifter.
Oh wow, that is so true and so good. It's actually resonates with me big time. People overlook the power of gratitude. I
Mhm.
think people don't really understand the power of gratitude because it is in any moment when you're feeling down, deflated, whatever, the world's coming at you from every direction. Gratitude can change all of that, right?
Yep.
The
Yes.
way you feel, the way you're showing up.
And anybody can do it at any given time.
That is so actionable, so good, and I love that. Walk us through how you, I mean, you said feel it, right? Feel that gratitude. Could you break that down or make it more tangible?
Yeah, there's actually a whole section plug, shameless plug, a whole section in the Epiphanies workbook on this. So I'm going to share with you exactly what I talk about. It's about, for example, catching yourself and pausing in the moment. So if I'm driving to work on a Monday morning and I'm grumpy because I just don't want to do this, stopping yourself and literally reframing and putting yourself in a position of thinking about, I have a car that I can drive to work. And it's also the thinking about you're living the life of someone else's dreams right now, no matter where you're at. You are living the life that somebody dreams of, no matter what position you're in. Having a car to drive to work is something that somebody out there is praying for. So putting yourself in that mindset of, okay, if I am blessed to have this car to drive to work, that's pretty cool. I don't have to drive, I don't have to walk, and I don't have to take the bus today. I was able to put gas in my car to get to work today. That's pretty cool. I have a desk that's comfortable when I get to work today. I have a boss that might be a pain, but you know what? They challenge me, and that's growing me. And I'm learning conflict resolution because of that. And it's reframing every single thing that you're experiencing to look at it through a lens of, I get to do this and I don't have to do this.
Oh, wow. I love that. I get to do this. That is
Mhm.
such a very powerful context. I'm learning so much from you, Anna, and I'm super grateful for this experience because there is a lot to be said about all the topics that you're talking about. And I think there's a big gap in the world that you're filling up a massive, massive hole in the market, which is amazing. And I thank you for that. Now, we've gone through so much stuff today, and I'm sure there's so much more that we can dive into, right? We could spend hours and hours talking about all of this, but we're coming into the end of this podcast, and I just want to go through a few final questions, right? Why is this so important? Why is it so important what you do?
What is what I do so important? I think it goes back to, we could all just live our lives every single day going through the motions and not having like purpose or passion. But we all also have the option and the opportunity to live our lives with true fulfillment, purpose, passion, and joy. And if I am in a position to be able to help other people tap into their ability to lead well, to show up well, to understand how the energy they're bringing to the table impacts the world, then that is just the most beautiful thing. So, being able to realize that every single person on the planet, no matter who you are, you interact with other people and you're bringing something to the table and you have an opportunity to contribute goodness to the world.
Love that. And for listeners today that want to find out more about you, learn more about you, how would that happen?
You can go to my website, which is epiphaniescoaching.com, or find me on Instagram. I love getting messages and reach outs on Instagram, and that's at myepiphanies.co. I, again, would love to hear from you guys. I have a retreat coming up that I would absolutely love for anyone to join me on. That is the end of February in Tamarindo, Costa Rica. So you can find more information about that on my website as well.
Awesome. And you have a book. You said you just recently released a book. I will put the link to that book in the show notes, guys, so you can find out more about Anna and the amazing impact and work that she's doing, helping people break through. And this is going to be going live pretty soon. Anna, thank you so much for being a part of our podcast today. Thank you for all the wealth of knowledge that you've been sharing. I've learned a lot today, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much. It was a joy.
Awesome.